In this video, we're going to be covering the Insert Photo tool, which is our main bread and butter function here inside Pixel Creator Pro. So we have our Insert Photo tool, and this mysterious gray button right to the right of it is also an Insert Photo button. And you may say, well, why is there two buttons that do the exact same thing? Well, the reason that we have these two buttons is because the main Insert Photo button will automatically resize your images to fit your image opening. And then this little button here will insert your images, but it doesn't do any automated resizing. So that is the differences there. So with Insert Photo, first of all, if I make a selection and I choose Add Aperture, that of course creates a new image layer. And then I could come in here to Bridge and select an image. And then when I choose Insert Photo, it will, of course, take that image I selected in Bridge, calculate the size of my image opening, and resize it to fit. Now you'll notice if you look closely at these transformation handles, the transformation handles are slightly larger than the image opening itself, and that's because of a setting that we have specifically set here inside Pixel Creator Pro that does that effect for us. So let's take a look at that by clicking on our little preferences icon here in Pixel Creator Pro. And one of the options here is this resize factor. So if I type in 100% and hit apply, and then I hit insert photo again, now I still have that selection made in Bridge. It's going to go ahead and take that and reinsert the image, but notice the difference this time. It has snapped. The transformation handles are exactly the same height as my image opening. So it's a matter of personal preference. Me, I like the image to be slightly oversized, but you may not. So you can define exactly what you like. Lastly, as I pull from the side, watch what happens. As I pull the transformation handles from a corner, the image is distorted, which is not really very nice. And so if we do that by accident, pull from a corner, we can snap it right back into place by coming up here to the options bar and clicking on this little link between the width and height values. And boom, snaps right back into place. And then if we drag from the corner, that's a better way to do it because then it automatically will maintain its proportional resizing. So that may be a benefit to you. Let's go back here and click on the preferences icon. Take a look at a couple other options here in Insert Photo. Do not change any of these settings basically to what they already are. You don't know what they are. It's kind of a back-end thing. Probably these shouldn't even be visible, but they are. But let's just focus on, first of all, I do want to set it back to 110 for my resize factor. Let's look at the next option, which is our Move Used Images. So we'll go ahead and hit apply and OK and cancel. And let's reinsert the same image once again. You'll notice that the transformation handles are a little bit bigger, so that 110% resize factor has been updated, which is quite useful. And let's go into Bridge here and take a look. Notice that now we have a used images folder where before we did not. And in here, there's actually two. We must have used this one previously in another example. But that image I just inserted is, in fact, in the Used Images folder. Now let me just drag this one back out. Okay, so if I take that image that let's just take this one, which is the one I just drug out of there. I'm going to make a selection here in Bridge. And then back over here in Photoshop, I hit Insert Photo again. Watch what will happen here. Our black and white image will be inserted, which is super cool. Our color image is no longer part of our layout, which is obviously what we wanted. And as soon as I accept the placement of that image, I go back in here to Bridge, and if I look in my Used Images folder, guess what? The only image that's in there is, in fact, the black and white image, which is exactly what we would want to have happen. Now, you'll notice something here in my layout that this image opening looks a lot smaller than it used to, and that's because of where we position the image. So I'm going to click on my layout tools and choose Adjust Image Placement. And as I move this image back into the image opening, you'll see that the image opening will get larger. And that's one of the reasons I like the images slightly oversized, because as I pull my image, If I pull it too much, the image opening, there's nothing there to show, so the image opening just gets smaller and smaller. And as I push it back open where there is image to show, then it of course gets back to a larger image opening. So a couple of little points there to make on that insert photo tool. Now let's go ahead and delete this layer, and let's make another selection, and I'll show you another option here. So I'm going to make a tiny little box, and then when I choose this button here, which is its little cousin, insert photo, but it doesn't do any automated resizing. It just inserts my image, and I'm just going to go ahead and select an image. And the reason, you'll notice that in that time when we inserted the image, notice that it didn't select an image from Bridge. And the reason being is because we didn't have an image selected in Bridge. And I get that question a lot. Do I have to use Bridge to select my images? Well, the short answer is obviously no. You don't have to. You definitely want to, because that is the most productive way to work with Pixel Creator Pro, but you don't have to, because if we don't have an image selected in Bridge, it will just pop up in a dialog box. And so you can see that we have a very small image opening, but the image is quite large, and that's because it's a high-res file, and it's dropped it into place, so now I can adjust the exact crop that I'm looking for. So a lot of times, as I'm doing my album layouts, what I'll do is I'll insert my images and have the automated resizing, and then if there's an image, like in this case, this image here, where I definitely want to define the exact crop, then I'll choose that option to insert photo no resize. And again, because I didn't have a file selected in Bridge, it just pops open a standard dialog box where I could then select an image. It'll insert it full resolution, and then I can control the exact crop that I'm looking for. So you'll find that you'll use both of those options here quite often, the insert photo function as well as the insert photo no resize function. Now the one thing that you don't want to do is you don't want to use this insert photo resize function and then come into layout tools and choose adjust image placement and say I want to make this bigger, because as you make it bigger, once it's condensed it down, you don't want to make it bigger because it just the quality of your image will be a lot less. Okay, so that is a couple of functions there in the Insert Photo tool. Now there is one little additional function that I want to show you, and it kind of combines the Add Aperture tool and the Insert Photo tool into one. And that is, we can make any type of selection. So let's just make a basic rectangular selection. Let's come into Bridge. Let's select an image. When I hit Insert Photo, I don't have anything but a selection made. Our image is automatically resized to fit our selection. In this case, it's resized to the height of that selection. So how cool is that? So if I were to make an elliptical selection with a 200 pixel feather, let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and select an image and hit Insert Photo. Now we'll get an oval selection with a 200 pixel feather. Our image will be resized to fit that. And you can see what a great effect that has. Just a real nice little effect, and we hit enter. Now we do always get this red stroke, but we can turn that off right here inside Photoshop. So the sky is the limit when it comes to the different types of image openings that we can insert images into. Remember earlier we were showing you some examples with the Add Aperture tool, making some specialized selections. Let's go ahead and do that again. So we're going to subtract, and actually let's switch over to our elliptical marquee, and we'll subtract. So now we've subtracted from this, and so when I hit Insert Photo again, our image will be inserted, and you'll see we have a nice soft edge on the left edge. So you can just get really creative in the different types of image openings that we create just by using some basic. Again, we'll turn off that layer style effect. So we'll go ahead and toss that. Let's look at another option here where we make that same rectangular selection, But we'll switch back over to our elliptical, but no feathering this time. And we'll subtract, just like we did previously. And when I hit Insert Photo, so now you get a nice image opening with a nice curved left edge with no softening. Again, we just turn off the red stroke, and you see we have a really neat image opening. And one last one, just to show you, if I do an oval, and I hold down my Shift key and I add 2, a couple little circles, and then I'll come back in here, we'll grab a different image, and I hit Insert Photo. Any selection I make will become the image container. And so you can see now how this image actually fills in all 3 bits. So it does create an interesting effect for this type of image. And again, we'll turn off that red stroke. So anytime we're using Insert Photo, Quick Divide, or Add Aperture, we always get these red strokes by default. One last point to make about Insert Photo is any layer can become an insert photo layer. And that is really important because any type of template that we purchase from any third-party developer, if it's a layered Photoshop file, we just select the image layer, hit Insert Photo, and away it goes. So, for example, let's say I have a rounded rectangle that I've created here in Photoshop, and I hit Insert Photo. It will automatically take my shape layer, convert it to an image layer, and drop in my image. Just that quick and easy. So that's pretty cool stuff. Let's go back into our preferences here. There's actually a function in here. Let's turn off that Move Used Images. There's actually a function in here that says Insert All Layers. Let me uncheck that, because that is kind of the default when you first get Pixel Creator Pro. So let me create another shape layer, like so, and let's go back in here and select an image, and I'll hit Insert Photo. You'll notice you'll get a dialog box. This is not an image layer, because if we look, it says Shape 1. Do I want to convert? Yes. So if you're using a third-party template, you'll get that error message most of the time that says, hey, this is an image layer, but we can easily convert it just by choosing yes. And so you can see you can create some interesting types of image openings this way. Let's go ahead and delete those. And also, if we come into our custom shape tool, this is where things really get interesting, because we can choose all kinds of interesting shapes that come with Pixel Creator Pro. We draw them out, and these can become, of course, image openings. So when I hit Insert Photo, it's a shape layer initially, so we'll convert it. Yes to convert. And then it will go ahead and drop in our image opening, filling in all the areas of our shape. Now, depending on the image that we use, that may actually look really cute, and it may not look so cute. In this case, it actually doesn't look so bad. But lots of fun things we can do using that Insert Photo tool in a variety of different ways. So lots of functionality in there. And this probably, if there was one thing I could pin my hat on that really makes the Pixel Creator Pro Photoshop solution different than many, many, many other album design programs out there, it's this function right here. Number one, the ease in which we can insert our images, but more importantly, if we're going to create any type of image opening other than a basic oval or basic rectangle, we really have a million options here with Photoshop and Pixel Creator Pro, and most album design software, you're very, very limited on that front. And so you can't be as creative as you could be if you're using Pixel Creator Pro. So that is really all the options there are for the Insert Photo. There is actually one more option in Preferences, and this is actually covered in the separate Preferences video, but it kind of all goes together, and that's the Scale Check option. Now I have this set to 10%, and basically what that's telling me, let me just go ahead and click on the Insert All Layers too. Basically what that says is, if I were to insert an image, and that image would be scaled by greater than 10% of its original size, it would warn me that and ask me, do I really want to do this? So if I come into some textures here and I hit Insert Photo into the selection, which is a 10 by 20 canvas, my textures are set to 12 by 12. So it's going to ask me, the image is too small for this opening. Do we wish to proceed? If I choose no, it just goes back to its original state. If I hit Insert Photo, again, because the scale check is turned on, I say yes, then it will go ahead and populate, just resize my texture to fit my 10 by 20. And in certain circumstances, you may get by with that. In certain other circumstances, you may not. That's why you're given the option. So if you like the scale check option, you can have it on, or if you don't, which I don't particularly, so I just turn it off. And then when I go to insert my image, it's just going to automatically open it, drop it into place, and it's not going to warn me that the image is really too small for the opening I'm looking to fill. It's just going to go ahead and do it, and assuming I know what the heck I'm doing, which I like to think I do. So, at any rate, those are some of the different options with Insert Photo. Enough to get you started. Certainly lots more to cover in the other more in-depth tutorials, but that'll get you started with the Insert Photo tool.